I grew up in a very healthy family, for what most people would say is a healthy family. And there was a time when I was in high school when my brother got sick. And it was at that time where my parents couldn't figure out what it was, and the doctors didn't know, and there's a lot of insecurity. And during that time for me, I just waded through it. And what I think most of us don't realize is that things that happen in our childhood affect us and affect how we view ourselves and how we view God later on in life. Probably it was like 30 years after that, I was in a Sozo appointment because there was this part of me that just kept saying, you can't do enough. I would accomplish a lot, and I don't have a perfectionist attitude about things in many areas of my life, but this one thing where I would feel like, oh, if I'd only done this a little differently, then everything would have been better. And so I went to have a Sozo appointment regarding that. And as we were interacting with the Lord, I asked him where this came from, and he said it was when my brother got sick. The leader just asked me to continue talking with the Lord and ask him questions, and it was during that time that I felt like the Lord said to me that during that season of my life, I was insecure because my parents were distracted, and that there was this part of me that felt a little bit like they weren't there, they weren't parenting me. Then there were other times when they were very, very sorrowful and having a hard day, and I would want to help them and get them out of it. I wanted my life back together. And so the Lord was reminding me all these things that had happened during that hard challenge in my life, that traumatic challenge in my life, to let me know that the way I felt back then was that no matter what I did to comfort my mom or dad, or to comfort my brother, to parent myself, it just never was enough. And the beautiful thing about this Sozo appointment was the Lord then just spoke to me, and he said, Amy, I did the parenting. When your parents couldn't be there, I parented you. He's the perfect dad. And then he shared with me how he had parented my parents in their sorrows and their weaknesses, how he'd comforted them, how he'd given them strength through all the years and since to be there and do what they need to be for my brother, and that he parented my brother, and he still is. And I don't have to carry that responsibility anymore. We're created in God's image. And as a child, when you're born and you're growing up in a home, you're looking at God's image around you. But unfortunately, that image has been tainted, and the people around us fail us. But unless they're explaining that to us, we get a distorted image of God. You might not even know why you do certain things. And sometimes we've gotten into habits of reacting or responding, and we know it's not right, but we don't know where it's coming from. Sometimes we've gotten into addictions and behaviors that really need to be broken, and no matter how many times people tell you, oh, you can get through this, you can do this, you just never quite are able. And the exciting news is that God has been with you your entire life. Everybody needs a fresh perspective with God, a new connection, an encounter with Him on a regular basis. So come, have a Sozo.